December 23, 2025. We are on a short hike in Diamond Bar near the Diamond Bar Community Center. Very beautiful trail. You can do the loop in about 45 minutes to an hour. There are 3 or 4 loops. One goes to the left here. That's the shortest loop. A lot of greenery right now. Although it's winter. Like it's fall weather. Although it hasn't rained much in the last couple of months. In the last 3 or 4 months, maybe it rained 2 times. But right now the rain is coming. There will be rain for 3 or 4 days. What is similar between hiking and life? There is in life 2 paths, the easy road and the hard road. The easy road leads to a hard life. The hard road leads to a easy life in the long run. In life, you want to choose the road less traveled. Like Iqbal says, it could be like the eagle, a lot of solitude, self-reflection, facing the inner demons, those battles that happen inside, which is also called Jihad Akbar. Right here under these trees a few years ago, I saw a herd of deer. And yes, you wouldn't expect it, but there are some deer here, although close to the population. At the top of the hill is a trail. So in life, just like right here, it's one step at a time. You cannot see the top of the mountain, but you can still have your eyes on the prize. Like Martin Luther King Jr. said, you can see a piece of the trail up there and there. That's the way back. That's like one of the peaks right there. That building on the right, that's the Diamond Bar Community Center. Beautiful place to do large parties like people do. You see people do wedding receptions up there. And then across the street, where you see the cars, there's Grand Boulevard, or Grand Avenue. We are on this side of the Grand. On the other side of Grand is a community called the Country. The Country has a lot of mansions. That's where all the rich people live. Gated. And there's a bunny. Oof, that was super fast. That's west. The sun has gone down about 15 minutes ago, but we still have some light. See, that's the trail coming back, the loop. Some people up there, right there. They've done a lot of maintenance on this trail. The crack in the ground is from water, rainwater. These cracks keep getting wider and deeper if there's no maintenance done. And retaining wall. It's a common design using rocks, make a natural wall that the water can go through, but it preserves some of the, it prevents some of the soil erosion, mudslides. There are some plants here which are like desert plants. They get a bright violet, reddish color fruit called cactus pear. Has a lot of really sharp, super thin needles on it. It has to be cleaned in a certain way. Like that. They're usually 3-4 times that size. Straight ahead is one of the loops, but this is the scenic route, canyon trail. So, the analogy of hiking with life, there are ups and downs in life. There will be ups. In hiking, those ups they require harder work, going uphill. In life, the ups are like, you're happy, everything's going good. In hiking, going down is easy, downhill like here. In life, this analogy is opposite. Going down in life, it means sadness, loss, loneliness, failure. grief, trauma, the work of ashes. So in hiking, there will be ups and downs. In life, there will be ups and downs. How to make the best of it. Don't expect life to be easy and flat and rosy. There'll be a lot of changes. On this hike, there's been different changes around us, different vegetation, different animal life, trees, plants, bushes, the dirt, the terrain, the weather. Less wind right here, although you see the trees moving. More wind in other areas. It's drizzling a little bit. There was no drizzle when we started. In life, there is rain, there is sunshine, there's good weather, there's bad weather. There are good, there's a easy leg of the journey, there's a good leg of the journey, more enjoyable, less enjoyable. Main thing about hiking is don't quit. You may not see where you're going. You might have fear of the unknown. One of the most important things in life is to take risks, to get out of the comfort zone, because learning does not happen in the comfort zone. So we have to take risks. We have to be brave. We have to reach out of the comfort zone into the learning zone, into the growth zone, into the stretch zone. And to get there, you have to cross the fear zone. You have to overcome the fear zone, which requires courage, boldness, taking initiative, being brave. So that is choosing an active lifestyle, being an activist, or being a person of action, taking action. The opposite is inaction, being still, which makes you stale. Being stationary, being stagnant, like stagnant water. So here on this trail, on a hike, you might come across some water. But if the water is stagnant, it's unhealthy, it's toxic. It can, although it's water, it can make you sick. Healthier water is the water usually that's moving. Here is a little creek. It'll be full tomorrow, the day after. There is a flood warning that is supposed to rain a lot. That was a little bridge over the creek. It helps a lot if you have a companion on your journey. You can encourage each other. Keep going. Don't stop. One of the most important lessons in life is to not quit. Quitting is not an option. When the journey is long, when the hike is difficult, sometimes you want to feel like quitting. But quitting is not an option. Quitting is the back door. You have to close the back door. There's 100 ways to quit, 1,000 ways of giving up, losing hope, not giving your best, self-sabotage, being your own worst enemy, doubting yourself. Doubt kills the warrior. You gotta overcome the doubts, overcome the worries, the fears. It's okay to have fear and nervousness before a game, before a meeting, before a job interview. But you can't let it hold you back. Another way of quitting is holding back. Another bridge. We should come here tomorrow, day after, just to see the difference after the rain. Sometimes you're in the dark. It seems like you can't see a way out. And then there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it feels like life is an uphill battle. And you're pushing a giant boulder, a rock, up the hill, and then it keeps rolling down. You gotta have deep roots. This is an old tree, pretty old, 40, 50 years old maybe. And the roots were not very deep, fell over. There was a owner of a famous furniture business. I think it's Ethan Allen is the name of the company. But the owner or CEO, Pakistani guy. And I saw his one of his talks in person about 20 years ago. And he says he likes to get out in nature with his family. And he says, what's true in nature is true in life. So a very successful man, a high achiever, is saying that he's not going to some expensive place. He's not going to some man-made place or some exclusive island. He's going to nature. For example, here, easily accessible, is free. No excuse for not being in nature. Although everybody's tied to their gadget, everybody's sucked into their screen, and there's really nothing who or what, nothing which can compete with the high, the dopamine rush that we are getting from our screens. So getting outside in nature, going for a walk, that activity is becoming rare, which is very sad, especially when you see kids and young people just on their screens. So sometimes it feels like the road is really long. Am I ever going to get to my destination? Am I ever going to be successful? So remember, the road to success is not a straight line. The road to recovery is not a straight line. It includes relapse. Relapse is part of recovery. Failure is part of the path to success. The key is we have to learn from our failures, from our mistakes, so that we don't repeat those mistakes, so that we don't fall into some kind of self-sabotage, self-defeating patterns, so that we're not stuck in some loop. And that loop is the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So I keep doing the same thing, same steps, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I keep ending up at a place, call it X. And I keep repeating that pattern. I keep doing the same A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Or I change up the steps sometimes. B, A, D, C, F, G, E. But if I keep ending up at the same place, then I got to do something different to get out of that loop of insanity, which is toxic. Is also in self-sabotage. There's something called the red zone, where you get close to victory, like in a game, like in football. The last 5 yards, the last 10 yards, and you get stuck there. The red zone. You did all the hard work, and then the last 10% is the hardest. And you kind of take it easy. You don't give your best there. You kind of quit. There's Grand Avenue going east. So the red zone, just got to be aware that if you've been working hard, if you're in school, you've been doing really good throughout the semester, but the last 10%, the last 5%, you got tired, you lost interest. That's the red zone. Just kind of be aware and don't let the red zone hold you back. Push through that last 5%, 10%, so that you can enjoy the victory. Otherwise, the 90% you did, you can waste it sometimes if you quit before reaching the finish line. Sometimes runners, even Olympic runners, they stop or they slow down or they get exhausted one step, two steps, a few inches before the finish line, especially the sprinters. And they think, I made it to the finish line. And then the next runner edges them out by a nose, by 1/100th of a second, fraction of a second. So you can't be snoozing, can't snooze off when you're on a mission. You gotta have a mission. You gotta have a purpose in life. You gotta have a purpose for anything you do. Purpose brings meaning to life. Purpose gives direction. Purpose is defined as a path. You gotta have a target that puts you on a path, that gives you a purpose, makes you purposeful. Otherwise, you're aimless if you don't put anything in the GPS, if you don't put a destination in the GPS. You're going to be going in different directions. You might be going wherever the wind blows you, or wherever the circumstances take you. And that's being a victim of circumstances. Instead of writing your own destiny. So, especially for men, there are two paths, two options at any given moment. Either you're acting like a hero or you're acting like a victim. Either you're making choices like a victim would make, or you're making choices like a hero would make. Either you're thinking with a fixed mindset, which could be part of a victim mindset, or you're using a growth mindset, which would be part of heroic mindset. So here we are, right there at the top is one of the peaks. That's where from here it doesn't look like, we don't know what's there, right? We don't know what's around the corner. But that's one of the benefits of having a mentor who has been down that road before, or who has been up that hill before, up that hill. So they can tell you, look, right now, you want to quit. Like, where is this mountaintop? Where is this destination? Am I ever going to get there? Sometimes people start saying, oh, I'm never going to get there. But then you have a coach who tells you, you're almost there. Keep going. A personal trainer who tells you, just around the corner, just around the corner. So here we are. Yes, it looked like there was nothing here. at the top of this hill. But it's a whole different world. Unexpected. Somebody made this really nice path. There's a parking lot. There's benches here. There's walking trails around here so people can enjoy the path that doesn't go straight, but they can enjoy the journey. Yes, you want to be driven, you want to be motivated, but you also want to enjoy the journey, not just worry about how to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. So there's the Diamond Bar Center and the parking lot. And this is about more than halfway, maybe 60% of the trail.